Once upon a time, there was a huge empire called Persia. Persia spanned from India to Egypt. Upon the throne of Persia was King Ahasuerus. And Ahasuerus was a king who liked to party. Ahasuerus invited every who's who to this party. Army officials, princes of provinces, every official and noble of Persia, to a party that lasted 180 days. Meanwhile, the queen threw a separate party for all the women. After the first week, the king was drunk, and he had grown bored of the wine, the food, and all of his guests, and decided that he needed to spice it up a bit.
Don't you think the queen is bored with being surrounded by only women? Who among them can appreciate her beauty? No one. Bring out my wife, Queen Vashti.
Her Majesty, the Queen is requesting your presence to entertain his guests and to be pleasing on his sight.
Me? I refuse to take my clothes off in front of thousands of drunk men. Let him ask for one of his many concubines.
But it is an honor, my queen. Don't refuse the queen, the king, for it's just for a short while, and your refusal will have consequences.
I am not going.
Queen Vashti's refusal embarrassed the king in front of all the officials and princes at the party.
Who is the queen that she would refuse the king? Does she think herself above the king, or too high and lofty to come among us men?
You are a smart man. What do you advise me?
The queen has set an example for all women. Will all women now refuse their husbands? No. She needs to make an example of let the king give a royal decree that Vashti is no longer queen, and let the king look for a new queen who will know her place, and all the women in the land will know to submit to their husbands.
Behold, new irrevocable law alert. Queen Vashti is not queen. Every man is master over his own house. Whatever he says goes.
So, the search for a new queen began. She had to be young, beautiful, and a virgin. One particular beauty was a young woman named Esther. Esther was in the care of her wise and loving uncle Mordecai.
My precious and sweet Esther, have you heard that the king Ahasuerus is searching for a new queen?
Yes, but that would never happen to me.
Oh, my dear, they might take you, and if they do, do not tell them that you are a Jew. There are those in the king's house who do not like Jews at all. Hey, what you doing? What you doing? Don't take her.
Hundreds of women were brought before the king after having spent a whole year at a spa, drenched in oil and perfume. But none of the women pleased him enough that he would make them queen. Until Esther appeared.
You will be my lady, and I will make you my queen.
And so the young Jewish Esther was made queen of Persia. But she told no one of her people, as her uncle Mordecai had told her. One day Mordecai, Queen Esther's uncle, was sitting at the king's gate, and he heard two of the king's servants talking.
The king is weak and stupid. He only parties. How long will it take until Queen Esther disobeys him and becomes like Queen Vashti?
Yes, the king truly is weak. I am sure at his next party he will ask the queen to come before him. Let's put something in his drink so that he falls asleep and never wakes up.
Yes. How many queens will it take before he becomes a real man? Let us kill him. Let someone else become a king.
The next party is tomorrow.
Yes, the party where only we will celebrate. Let's kill him.
Mordecai heard the plot to kill the king and rushed to Esther.
Esther, my darling, you will not believe what I heard. There is a plot to kill the king. Can you do something about it?
Yes, I will do my best.
The queen was horrified and hurried to let the king know, and the two plotters were hanged. Mordecai's name was written in the king's records as the one who saved the king. In the Empire of Persia, there was one man who was particularly full of himself. And no, it was not the king. It was an official named Haman. Haman had recently been promoted and was the highest official in the government. Haman forced everyone to bow before him when he walked by them in the street. But one day, while Mordecai was sitting at the king's gate, Haman and Mordecai had a bit of a confrontation.
Hey, dude, who do you think you are? You have to bow before me, man.
I serve and bow down only to the king and before my God, Yahweh.
Haman became very, 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 very angry and hated Mordecai. He was burning in anger and also hated all his people, the Jews. And from that day on, he started plotting against the Jews. So Haman went to the king to get him to also go against the Jews.
Hey, King, listen, have you seen these Jews? They are going out of control, man. Dude, they are like rebels and they need to be put down. Listen, I have this sick idea, man. Let's set a day where everyone can like rise up against them with like cool swords and like spears and like kill them all over Persia. And I'll pay for everyone who does it. What do you think of my awesome idea, dude?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. It's your money. And the people are yours also. Go for it. Do whatever you want.
So Haman drew lots, and a day was decided when everyone who wanted was allowed to rise up against his Jewish neighbor, kill him, and take all of his possessions as plunder. A letter was written to every province in all of Persia, from India to Egypt, 127 provinces, issuing this day to kill the Jews. When Mordecai heard about this, he was terribly distraught and sad. He put on sackcloth and ash on his head and was sitting at the king's gate and wailed loudly, as did all the Jews in Persia. Esther heard about this and sent a eunuch to ask what was wrong.
Hey, Mordecai, Queen Esther has some clothes for you to put on.
No clothes. I am too sad and distraught.
The queen wonders what's wrong.
Tell the queen this. Haman has signed an edict to kill all the Jews and has paid for it. Do not think just because you are a queen, it doesn't mean that you're also not going to be killed. Do something, Esther. If you remain silent, then all Jews will perish.
The eunuch told Queen Esther all that Mordecai had said, and she responded by telling Mordecai and all of the Jews to fast for 3 days together with her.
Let us fast for 3 days.
After 3 days of fasting, Esther put on her most beautiful robe and entered the king's court. This was dangerous because she had not been summoned. Unless the king stretched out his golden scepter, this could mean Esther's death.
Please, don't kill me. Please. Please. Don't kill me. Don't let me die. Ah!
What do you want, my beautiful lady queen? Even if it's half of my humongous, super huge, big kingdom, I will give it to you.
Would you and Haman join a private party?
Party? That's it? Of course, let's go for it. It's party time.
When Haman found out that he was invited to a private party, he felt like he was on the top of the world. But still, Mordecai did not bow before him, and that just ruined his day. So he talked to his wife about it.
That dude, Mordecai, is just like a pine in my butt. Like, I am super powerful. So who does he, like, think that he is? I mean, I can't even enjoy the super dope party that Queen Esther is throwing for us.
Make a super huge and big gallows and then ask the king to hang Mordecai in the morning. When he's dead, go celebrate with the queen and the king at the party.
That night, the king had a nightmare. And he asked for the king's records to be read to him to lull him to sleep. But during the reading, he found out that Mordecai, the man who had saved his life, had never been rewarded for it.
What the heck? Mordecai saved my life and he never gets awarded for that? He didn't get anything? Oh my gosh!
That morning, Haman entered the king's court to ask him to be allowed to kill Mordecai.
Hey, King. What up, yo?
Hey Haman, wonderful. I need your advice. What should be done for the man who has desire to honor?
What dude would the king want to honor? Except for me. Let the dude be put on the king's horse, wearing the king's like his best robe, bro. Then let he be brought into the street, and everyone should bow before him, and an official should lead the horse, shouting, "This is what the king does for those he wants to honor."
You have such a great ideas. Do all of this for my servant Mordecai. Dun dun dun!
So Haman dressed Mordecai in the king's best robe and put him on a royal horse and led him down the street. And he shouted,
"This is what the king does for those he wants to honor."
After this, Haman ran home, shamed, and cries to his wife. And his wife said,
If a Mordecai is a Jew, you would never ever win against him.
That same night, Esther, the king, and Haman were drinking wine at her organized party.
So, my wife, beautiful queen, what do you want? Even if it's half of my humongous, super huge and big kingdom, I will give it to you.
If I have found pleasure in your sight, my king, then please save my life. I and my people have been sold to be killed and destroyed by this wicked Haman.
Immediately, the king put down his drink in anger and left to think. And Haman went down on his knees and begged for his life.
Please, Queen. Please, no. Please.
But when the king returned, he saw Haman being very close to the queen.
Will Haman even mess with my wife?
King Haman has built gallows for Mordecai, and they're super big.
Hang Haman on his own gallows.
So the king listened to Esther and issued a new decree. All of the Jews were allowed to fight back and defend themselves against anyone who would fight against the Jews. And on that day, instead of the Jews being murdered, they fought back and killed their enemies. And that day, the Lord saved his people through the young Jewish woman Esther, who became queen over Persia and saved her people. This event is still celebrated to this day. And that is all, folks.